Hey everyone, my name is Alaf Zagatiros, and here we have the third part of design patterns, and we'll start with a factory method, which is a creation of design patterns. Okay, so here in the factory method, we start with shoes and how we are trying to create a shoe, and in one of the ways we can create a shoes. We have here the first image is a caveman who's trying to make its own shoes, and here we have the second instance where humanity has evolved and we ask a shoe factory to make one for us, and we'll try to take the journey from how we make it on of our own shoes to delegated this task to a factory, which is our factory method. Okay, and let's start here. Here we have this simple way of using the shoes. We have human object which use this shoe object, and instead of this, we'll be using this the first part of this screen where we are saying how a factory is working on it. So let's start with the code. Here we have a human object, and this human object will be using the shoes, and every time this human object is being created, we are also creating the shoes, and then when we are going for run or when we're going home, the duty of this shoe object is being changed from on to off, and it has price and type, and we can this is a simple way of just to make a good example of shoes. Now we are going to do, we want someone else to create the shoe for us, because here it's not that flexible, and every time we have some change in the shoe object class, we need to make adjustment here in human object which is using it, and so many challenges we might encounter every time there's any kind of change in business logic. Now also, I mean, the second one is also we want different kinds of shoes, and here we only have one shoe, so every time we want different shoes, we have to change here within the human class. And so what we do is we start with creating an interface. Yes, we need to get addicted with using interfaces. Every time we have a class or an object, we somehow need to find a way to make the relatable methods into an interface. Okay, and what else? Instead of creating the object, we call someone else to give us the object, which is our factory. So here we have this factory class, and we have a method here, and this method will be using to create an object for us. So before that, we need to have an interface. So let's start with creating an interface. Sorry, we have interface, and instead of shoes, it will be what was the name? Footwear. Yeah, not Footloose, Footwear. I know it was a really good movie, the best probably. And here we can have a footwear with a method that is like Boolean is on duty. It's an abstract method, and here instead of the shoe we can have different type shoes. It could be let's say class summertime sandals, I mean summertime shoes, and we will implement footwear. And yes, we need, sorry guys, implement methods. Yes, we are implementing it, and instead of default something, we can have our private, sorry, and here we are trying to have the fields here, and we'll try to create the public constructor, which is summer shoe, and hey, instead of that, I think we could just alt insert, yeah. I mean, let's just remove this and I'll insert a constructor and boom. Okay, and instead of this one, what else do we have? Wait a minute, what am I doing? Sorry guys, instead of, my apologies. This won't happen again. We have price, duty and everything, and we can just few seconds, just, okay. Now we have this summer shoes, and then we can have you can see on the screen whenever I'm using a shortcut on keyboards, so it won't be difficult to see what I'm doing with the keyboard. Okay, winter shoe, and we have here winter shoe. So we have created two kinds of shoes, and now instead of creating the shoes, we can use like footwear, right? Just to show you, I mean, we're going to remove this one, of course, and with either it's summer shoes or let's make it shoes. Looks kind of weird. And what else do we have? Okay, just summer shoes. Yes, this is summer shoes. And here is winter shoes. And of course we have, is it on duty or not, right? True. Every time we're creating an object, we try to make it and on duty or off duty. And on duty, this is a setter. Duty, and here we have the next one is off duty. Okay, and now we need to implement the not you. Yes. Oh, sorry guys, this should be void because we are not we don't need to get the value, we just want to set the value, right? So it's void, and we are only going to turn on if it's dirty on duty is true, right? And here we have void, and we're trying to make the shoe available, and I mean on closet, inside the closet, and on duty it's equal to false. Yay. And hopefully okay, where are you? We'll try to hide everything that we added here and then make it a little bit visible and clear to understand. So we have only created a simple shoe object, and instead of using this, we have winter or summer, so we don't need to have this one. So we've created an interface and implemented it on two classes, summer shoes and winter shoes. Now, what else do we need? The next one is, instead of creating it here in within human object, we want it to be created on someone else, and create shoe. And here we want to create something which is this within this factory, and we want our human object to use this factory class to get an instance of either summer or winter shoes. So how do we know which one we want? Either we can pass a string value, this is like the oldest way of creating a factory method, and we will try to improve it soon. So if type of shoe, I don't know, start with S, then instead of this void, we make it something cool, which is it will send us footwear. And we return new summer shoes. And the price is, like I said, 12 euros. String is, type is summer hike. I don't know. Isn't duty? Yeah. Tool. And else, because we only have two, and of course this is not very flexible, and we can return, we can just copy this and then try, my apologies. Instead of summer, we turn to winter shoes, and instead of summer hike, it will be winter hike. On duty, yes. So what we are doing here is we are passing a string to this method, and then based on the type of string, we are sending a different kind of object. Now, instead of creating every time a human object, we can just use here, let's start with something awesome. We don't need you. And we just create, yeah, we could just make it factory or shoe factory. Let's make it shoe factory, right? It sounds better. So we have here shoe factory, and yes, and factory is equal to new shoe factory. Yeah, we just created an object. And when we want to have go for a run, we can just either we can create it here. So the coolest thing here is, one, we have created a new object every time this method is being used, but also we can have another method, let's call it as internal method, or something, not just internal, or let's skip this part, and we can just use this factory and create shoes. So instead of creating it every time we're running, it's better to factory create shoes, and type of shoes is summer. And if this is summer, we will get a summer shoes. And if this is like a winter, it will give us the winter shoes now. And private shoe, not shoes, sorry, footwear. And Okay, so when we go for run, footwear is on duty. We can check. I mean, we can just turn it into on duty. And then if it is footwear off duty, yeah. So you can see the flexibility here, right? We didn't add any kind of logic, extra logic here. So the most challenging part is creating a factory class where we pass a different kind of objects. And based on different kind of object, whether it is winter or summer, we can still have the same functionality because we have interface. Now, we can call this a factory method and go home, but that's not what we do, right? We make it more flexible. So instead of having a single shop factory, we make this extendable, and based on each kind of footwear objects, we create our own, yes, our own factory for different one. We can have factory for summer shoes, we can have factory for winter shoes. So how do we do it? We go hard, right? So here we can say shoe, no, like summer shoe factory, and we want to extend shoe factory. And let's copy this. Yep. Winter. Okay. Now, what do we do here now? So we can use the same kind of, let's say, we will use this create shoe factory method, and footwear let's make it protected for now. Create shoe and we are creating sorry, and new this is summer, right? Copy and paste, and same thing happens here, right? Okay, so here in both factory objects we are creating footwear, and here are this is the way. And also, instead of using since all the possibilities of creating all kind of objects is be done within this both extending objects, we don't need to have any logic here, meaning we can make this abstract, right? And well, yeah. And now, instead of using, where's the factory? Shoe factory. Yes, the type is shoe factory. And the instead of using this string to check if using if clause, we can use like winter shoe factory. And yes, we don't need any kind of string here. And let's just clear. And here we have, so instead of using this shoe factory, what we did is we extended this shoe factory and make it more extendable. So we have different factories for different kind of objects, or shoes in our case, or footwear. And we will be creating a different kind of footwear. So is it an overkill for this simple kind of human and shoe thing? Probably, but for a larger object, for a larger kind of project, it will be very useful. For instance, instead of creating this summer shoes, we can have, like, let's say we have a private, not we can make a private one, construct any kind of constructor, like let's say like even a default one, summer shoe factory, right? And here we can cache it, like we can have footwear and and then every time this object is being created, we want to use this one, right? So footwear will be this one. It's just a simple example, like instead of creating an entire object. And if footwear not is equal to, if is equal to null, return this else. Yeah, we can refactor it in a more readable way, but this one will do the job, return footwear. So as long as we have this object alive, we don't need to create new objects. So instead of creating it here in the constructor, we can even make it, we can create it here in new shoe factory, right? Footwear, no, sorry, not this one. Shoe factory is here, so new shoe, sorry, it should be the abstract, I mean, the one, I mean, either summer, in our case, it's summer shoe factory. And yeah, we don't need it. Control Y. Yeah. So we can create the object here and have it our way. And we don't need to, and we can have a different way of creating this object. So, and yeah, this is pretty much it. And let's see how our UML diagram helps us to make. So instead of creating this different, just these shoes, we have summer shoes and then winter shoes, right? And we are extending the footwear instead of wearable. Yeah, my mistake over here. And this is an interface. So this factory is hoping to create, not use, creates. Okay, so this factory is creating a wearable object, which is either summer or shoes. And of course, we can't have an interface object. And instead of handling here, we can have a different, I mean, an extending classes, which are summer shoes and factory winter shoes, to extend and then create their own shoes, which is summer or winter. And yes, human will use this factory object, and we'll call this factory object to give it the different kind of shoes, summer or winter. And we don't need to worry about creating the object by ourselves. The factory will be the one responsible for creating us. It could be directly an object, or it could be from the cache, or it could be something else. And thank you, guys. Let me know your thoughts and ideas and comments, and I will see you soon.